Force resides in all living things.
I know you can do this, Ahsoka.
Ahsoka, new episodes streaming Tuesdays.
Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
What's up, guys? Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well, and in this video we are going to be discussing the runtime of Ahsoka Episode 3. We're gonna go ahead and hop right on into it. Before we continue, I'd like to mention that I'll have a more in-depth, fuller video into the regards as a preview video for Ahsoka Episode 3. We're going to be going over everything that we know about the upcoming episode, including its runtime. I'll also be discussing a handful of theories in that video as well, so grab that subscribe button if you haven't already, and that notification bell to be notified for when that video comes out. We're also discussing and covering all types of Star Wars related news, leaks, rumors, theories, and breakdowns here on the channel. Okay, so Ahsoka is combining the strengths of multiple Star Wars shows in its past. It's taking the protagonist of the Clone Wars and the characters of Rebels and the live-action Disney Plus medium of The Mandalorian and this Mandoverse to build what should be one of the greatest hits compilation of modern Star Wars storytelling. However, there are still a few variables here and there yet to be revealed about Ahsoka, especially including specifically with its runtime. Since Ahsoka is in a streaming show, it's not beholden to a strict runtime structures of typical network shows like we've seen in the past. I feel like that if for anything, that's something that a lot of newer shows are growing out of. That lack of structure though, however, has led to a widely varying episode lengths in Star Wars specifically, like with The Mandalorian Season 3 having episodes as short as 31 minutes and then as long as an hour. Ahsoka's episodes 1 and 2 have a very standard 45-ish minute length. But episode 3 is raising questions about the rest of the show for what we could see going forward. I'd also like to throw in there as a little bit of a disclaimer that, well, if the narrative, if the story doesn't need the overall episode to be drawn out, to be longer, then why do it? If it's just going to create filler and something that's not all that much very interesting, something that people don't really necessarily want to see because it's just filler, then don't do it. I'd rather have a shorter episode that's all killer and no filler instead of having a hour-long episode that's just kind of boring and drawn out. So recently, according to insider and leaker Cryptic 4K Qual over on Twitter or X, you can also follow me on X, they're very accurate, leaking runtime in the past of not just with the Ahsoka show's first 2 episodes and having roughly actually gotten those ones very correct, but also in other shows outside of Star Wars, also with The Mandalorian Season 3, but they had also leaked a lot of the runtimes for The Last of Us over on HBO. They're saying that episode 3 of Ahsoka should and would clock in at a scant of 34 minutes and 50 seconds, or 31 minutes once you factor in the credits, so it's only going to be about a 30-minute long episode. This isn't very long whatsoever, and if for anything this actually competes with actually the shortest episode of live-action Star Wars with The Mandalorian Season 3 having a 30-minute episode. This makes it one of the shortest episodes of live-action Star Wars ever, and a clear departure from Episodes 1 expansive 51-minute runtime. However, there could be a simple explanation for this to be a shorter episode. In a recent press release, Lucasfilm had announced that the director lineup for Ahsoka, and while showrunner Dave Filoni is directing Episodes 1 and 5, Episodes 2 and 3 are being directed by Steph Green. Steph Green, who took on also the Book of Boba Fett Episode 2, could be treating her episodes as a functional two-parter, if for anything, and I have to agree with that, meaning that they serve as more of a 70-minute story rather than a 40-minute one and a 30-minute story, kind of more separated episodes. I feel like that's something that the overall Ahsoka show has already been striving in, even though we're only 2 episodes in so far, is having a very connective story, and it just flows almost as one very long, non-stop adventure and like ongoing show. There's not much of a gap between episodes necessarily, which is a great thing and something that we did see with those first 2 episodes, so I personally really hope that they continue on with that. This is, though, however, especially interesting considering Ahsoka has a 2-episode premiere, meaning that they were very likely to leave a big cliffhanger at the end of Episode 2, which they did sort of kind of leave it as a cliffhanger, having Sabine and Ahsoka get on the ship and just fly off, and and like just like that, we're already getting into the adventure and into the overall story here. There's not much of a build-up necessarily of them leading into this and like actually like leaving and everything like that, so I'm very glad and happy that they just went ahead and jumped right on into it. And as I had also mentioned, not only at the beginning of this video, but also like in and out of a lot of my Ahsoka videos here on the channel, is that I'm really striving for this show to be all killer and no filler, and that's exactly what they have really been doing here, especially with those first 2 episodes. That's all we can really base it off of all that much. We can also hopefully base off of that episode 3 is going to be similar to that, with a 30-minute runtime here, is that they're not going to have any time to waste around or dwelling around or anything like that and going on side adventures or side quests, and that they're going to stick to that main journey, that main mission of going off and finding Thrawn and finding Ezra Bridger. Now, I do believe though, however, that if for anything, episode 3 may leave us more of a cliffhanger, and I believe that that overall episode is going to be more connective and more lined into with episode 4, very similar to what we saw with episode 1 and 2, leading right on into each other. So I think that we'll see something, hopefully, fingers crossed, very similar with that, with episode 3 and 4, almost as if every other episode, or like rather every 2 episodes of the Ahsoka show are in themselves like a mini arc, kind of Clone Wars, very similar to Clone Wars, and comparing it to that, or comparing it to Andor, another live action show, with every 3 episodes being an arc. I really especially think and expect that Ahsoka can adapt something like this, very similar to what we saw with Clone Wars and Andor. I want to say that Rebels sorta kinda did this, but really not that much, to be honest. If for anything, Rebels was more of a linear story. I think that Ahsoka is going to be more of a mixture between both of those, and seeing that Dave Filoni is the creator of both Clone Wars and Rebels, I think that he's going to take that kind of storytelling and adapt it here into for what we have for Ahsoka. And hopefully episode 3's short runtime is merely a side effect of a larger story being divided in half, if for anything, as I had mentioned, not evidence of wildly varying runtimes for the show. In the streaming era, it's tempting to make runtimes fit stories instead of the reverse, but the structure of this 45-minute episode is one of the most tried and used and true television kind of aspects in history. The Mandalorian's season 3 wide range of runtimes made the show feel erratic, and that it didn't have much of a cohesive pattern. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing. I think that The Mandalorian season 3 took it and ran with it and made it work, and I think that Ahsoka is going to make it work a whole lot more. As I had also mentioned at the beginning of this video, I'll also have our episode 3 Ahsoka preview video going into more detail in depth with what we know about the actual episode itself, and with everything that we've known so far here for what we can see with Ahsoka episode 3, but also other theories in that video as well. All the more reason to grab that subscribe button if you haven't already, and that notification bell to be notified for when that video comes out. I'll also have a reaction and a breakdown video for Ahsoka's episodes, as they are each coming out each week. We're also discussing and talking about all types of Star Wars related news, leaks, rumors, theories, and breakdowns here on the channel, so if you guys are into any of that, grab that subscribe button. Let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. I would love to hear what you guys are all thinking. What do you think about the episode 3 runtime clocking in at just around 30-ish minutes long? What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear what you guys are all thinking. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Of course, this has been Unofficial Star Wars. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great one, guys. May the Force be with you as always. Peace out.